All right, so I'm just gonna yap while I'm going to school. I'm just gonna yap about some eccentric overload training and pretty much how I believe it's gonna be the future of strength and conditioning for athletes and for bodybuilders, especially for naturals that want to build muscle. Now with the athletes, this is why I believe it's gonna be the future. With eccentric overload, you can make gains like 40% faster or 40% more gains than like standard training. So just think about this. Let's just think about this. Athletes, they have about, I'm talking about athletes, I'm talking about like amateurs, college athletes, professionals. They have like a 6-month off season. Now in those 6 months, they got to put on as much muscle as they possibly can for the season. As much work capacity, as much muscle. With standard training, let's say in 6 months, I'm gonna give a baseball player for an example, because I played baseball and I also train a baseball player right now. So let's give an example. Baseball. In the off season, they have 6 months. They'll do some standard training, some plyometric stuff like that. Let's say they put on 1 to 2 pounds of muscle, because realistically, how much muscle can you really put on in 6 months? You can't put on, especially with standard training, you can't put on a lot of muscle. You can only put on about 1 or 2 pounds, if you're doing everything right, because that's a lot. Because most of these guys, they've been lifting for a while, so they're not going to have newbie gains, obviously. They're going to be pretty well trained. So say 1 to 2 pounds, that's like the upper end, right? Let's say 1 pound. Let's say 1 pound. No, let's say 2 pounds. 1 to 2 pounds. Let's keep it 1 to 2 pounds. They go into season. They're playing every day. Best case scenario, they won't even maintain their muscle. Best case scenario, they're gonna lose slightly. So let's say they lose half a pound, or even a pound. Let's say they lose a pound of muscle, because that's 6 months. Like, the best thing you could do is just try to maintain, but all that fatigue, all that playing, you're not gonna really put on muscle. You're gonna actually lose a little bit. So if everything goes right, you're at a +0 muscle gain, probably +1 pound. So after these athletes turn about 30 years old, 32, every year they're going to be at a net loss of muscle. It's going to be harder and harder to put on some muscle after that. Now I was just thinking like, okay, if these athletes in the off season do eccentric overload training, in those 6 months, they might put on 2 to 4 pounds of muscle. And with that type of hypertrophy, which is myofibrillar hypertrophy, it's more permanent. It's more permanent rather than standard training, which is mainly sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, very little myofibril. It's more permanent. So they probably won't even lose that much muscle. They probably won't lose any. Let's just say, okay, let's say they put on 3 pounds in the off season with eccentric overload. Okay. Now the season comes, they're playing every day. Obviously in the season you can do eccentric overload. It's gonna impact your performance, because with eccentric overload, it's associated with DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So you're gonna be stiff and sore. It's gonna impair your performance. So it's not ideal for in season. Yeah, especially for an amateur, professional, it's just not ideal. So you don't want to do eccentric overload in season. That's an off season training style. So in season, you're doing your standard training. You're just trying to maintain what you built. So let's say you gain 3 pounds in the off season. You do standard training in season, and let's say you lose a pound. I'm gonna keep it severe. Yeah, let's say you lose a pound. You're still at a +2 muscle gain. Okay. So And then you just keep doing this in the off season. You just keep spamming eccentric overload in the off season. You say, all right, look, I don't want you to play your sport for the first 2 months of your off season. We're just gonna focus on building your muscle big and strong, explosive. We're gonna build all that connective tissue, your tendons. You're just gonna be bulletproof with eccentric overload, because that's what it does. And let's say you do that for your first 5 years, for the first 5 years of the athlete, and every year is a +2 net gain of muscle. You're 10 pounds plus of myofibril hypertrophy. So it's like you're ahead of the competition, and it's more permanent. So I just think it's going to be the future, because everybody does standard training. In 6 months, you cannot put on virtually any muscle. Probably 1 pound, to be realistic, maybe 2. But it's like, is it really muscle, or is it really myofibril muscle, or is it sarcoplasmic? I believe it's sarcoplasmic. That's why it's so easy for them to lose it during the season. So I just think it's gonna be the future. Basketball players, football players, they can all benefit from this, because you're building the actual contractile tissue that makes you fast, explosive, and resilient. I don't know why coaches, they don't know about this. They probably do know about this, but they think like, if I do it, it's just too intense, I'm gonna injure my athletes. You're actually not. I don't think you are. I think if you start off slow, it could be a powerful tool to really like bring your athletes to the next level. That's what I'm doing with the baseball player I'm training. He's 16 years old, and I've been doing this with him for about a month already, and he feels great. He's already getting stronger. The first year I was training him, we were just doing standard training. I didn't even know about eccentric overload, and I was able to get his bench up. Let's say, I think his bench was 185 when I caught him, 175, and I was able to get it to 250. Pretty solid. But I realized that's from us where we're training chest, bench. It was full body about 3 times a week. And I was like, was that really muscle, or was that his central nervous system? He built the skill of benching, and it's mainly sarcoplasmic. I was like, I don't think that's, after I learned about eccentric overload, I was like, I don't think I really built his contractile muscle. I think that was all CNS. Just he got better at benching, because we're benching 3 times a week, and it was mainly sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, obviously. So I just wanted to yap about that, because it's been on my mind, and I'm just like, I think in the future, when people start gaining knowledge about eccentric overload, how to do it, because people know about eccentric training, you know, obviously it's the eccentric portions will build muscle, just by the nature of it. But I don't think they truly understand how it actually works. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.